Welcome to the Wyoming State Library Database tutorial, History and Context, and Native American Heritage Month. November is Native American Heritage Month, and Gale has updated U.S. History and Context to highlight Native American topics. They've also created a program guide, scavenger hunt, and banners and social media posts for libraries and classrooms to use. All of this can be found at support.gale.com/honor-the-past. Okay, so let's start here at gowild.net, and we'll go to the subject area history and select U.S. History in Context. As we mentioned, they're highlighting Native American topics this month. Their carousel, let's start there, here in the middle, features some topics, and you can scroll through the carousel. And right from here, you can explore this topic. When you get to the topic, you can see that it's been updated. And to get some background on this, clicking on Read More will give you an overview essay. One of the features that I want to point out in this article is that there are some tools that Gale has created to make it easier for students doing research, and that's highlights and notes. So for example, if we want to highlight this, I cursor over it, it pops up highlight. I can make it a color, and I can also add a note and save that. Notice now highlights and notes indicates that I have one. I can also scroll down, do another one, highlight, and say I want to keep all my Custer stuff in yellow if I'm doing some research here. At the top of this article, you'll notice there's a breadcrumb trail back. I can go back to my Battle of the Little Bighorn. This is their whole topic page. Notice on the right, I have listings of what sort of content is available, including primary sources, magazines, images, and academic journals. I can also scroll down to see those. Notice that each one lists 3 items. Always look at the content title. This time I'm going to use the link here on the right. Instead of scrolling, it will open up all 43 instead of just showing me the 3. This time I selected images. You can use these images. Notice that you have source citation information here, as well as if you click on citation tools, I can change my citation format and download this citation. I'm going to go back home and scroll down a little bit. Here's where you'll see their subject categories. And here is their highlighting of Native Americans. Again, they highlight 3 on this main page. And be sure and look at View All. These are the topics that they've prepared pages for. Of course, you can still do searches on different information, but these are the topic pages that have pulled together all of those content documents. I'm going to select American Indian Movement. Again, we have our overview essay here at the top. If I go into that, let's say that we wanted to highlight again, but make this a different color. I don't have to put a note, and now that's just saved this. Okay, so now that we have those, we can take a look at it here in a second. Notice that I can also send it to Google Drive and to OneDrive. I can print, email, download, and save to a folder here to print all at once before you log out. In addition to these topics that are here on the main page, under these specific subject categories, I can browse all topics alphabetically, which is really nice because you can do research within certain decades. Also notice that we have some of our Native American topics here, so I can find them on this main page as well. Or I can come up here, choose a category, narrow this down. Now I've narrowed it for the National History Day topic, and you'll see that we have a lot of variety here, from American Revolution to Homeland Security to the Tet Offensive. Also notice that there's the Wounded Knee Massacre. Many of these topics will be under a variety of subject pages. So we've looked at the carousel here with featured topics, the browse all topics, and the subject categories here on the main page, but you can also do a regular search. And I'm going to search Wyoming and tribes. Notice that a search assist comes up, and if you're not careful, notice that if I'm just sliding my way over to the search box, I selected that for my main search. So students will be wondering what the heck, they did not do that search. So two things, watch for that. On the very far left of the search box, there's an arrow, and I can turn search assist off. The other thing I want to mention is right after where you type in your search, it says U.S. history. I can search both U.S. history in context and world history in context, or both of them together. So I'm going to launch my search. Because this isn't a topic page, you'll see that I just have a page of search results. Again, they list 3 items. Always look for the header. The other thing to note in these Gale in context databases is they list or use an icon to list reading level. If I hover my cursor over that, this indicates that the red triangle is advanced, the yellow box is intermediate, and the green circle is basic. And the basic starts at 8th grade. I'm going to open all of our reference items. The other thing they indicate to the right of each one of these titles is what it is. So topic overview, a culture overview, a state overview. So you get some indication right there on what you're looking at. I'm going to scroll down to the Fort Laramie Treaty, or the Treaty of Fort Laramie. Tuesday marked the 150th anniversary of the final signing of the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie. Notice that it brings that icon indicating that it's an advanced reading level. On the right-hand side, I can get my citation, send it straight to Google Drive, save it, and print. And I can also scroll down and look at bibliography for this particular item. I can also, of course, do a highlight and save that. Now, if I wanted to look at my highlights for a specific article and I was going to print this or send it to Google Drive, I can look at those right here within my article. Otherwise, I'm going to go up here to More, and we'll look at our highlights and notes for all the articles we've done in just a second. But again, if you wanted to print this article or send it to Google Drive, you can also do that with your highlights and notes. I'm going to go back with my breadcrumbs to the results list. And I want to take a peek at the audio. You can access audio recordings. Most of them are going to be National Public Radio. This is in particular a morning edition from 2014 talking about the decision by the Environmental Protection Agency on increasing the borders of the Wind River Indian Reservation. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main page. To the right of the search box, there is, of course, an advanced search. There's some really great things that you have access to under advanced. The usual, you can build a Boolean search, but you can also narrow to document type, content type. So if you wanted just the audio or academic journals. Content level, that's where we talked about the basic, intermediate, and advanced, as well as Lexile reading scores. You can also search by publication. So you can do a main publication search here, or if you're looking for just those with full text, most of these will be peer-reviewed, for example, format for dates. The coolest thing here is Topic Finder, and that's here under Advanced. I can type a search in. And now it's going to do this visual search as a topic finder. So now students can narrow their search by visually seeing all these categories and all of these topics and subjects. The larger and darker the tile is, the more information there'll be. So if I click on one of these, as I narrow my search, notice it's populated the articles here on the right-hand side. I can narrow one more time. And again, now it's narrowed down those articles for me for my search. I can go into those articles right from here. And that was in the advanced search under Topic Finder. I think it's a great way for students to do research when they have that visual image of their search terms. You can bookmark any of the pages within this resource, including those specific topic pages. Get a persistent URL, put it in your email or in your materials, PowerPoints, whatever you're going to use it for. So let's look at the More button. I just showed you that you can put things in folders. That's right here. If I put some things in there, then I can print them out. Highlights and notes. These are all the highlights and notes that I made in every one of the articles, and they will stay there until I log out of U.S. History in Context. I can send these, of course, to Google Drive, OneDrive. I can get citation tools for them. Notice that it gives me all the articles that I have. I can change the type of citation. On the left-hand side, you'll see that it lists the titles. If I put any notes in, and I can do more than just one word. I can type a little paragraph if I was using it for my opening thesis statement or my argument, pro-con, I could put those notes there. If I scroll down a little farther, you'll also see that there's a bibliography. So if I print this full page, then I've got some great information about what they were looking at, where it came from, and the bibliography. So notice that these are linked so I can go right back to that page that I have highlighted. So that's the material here on U.S. History in Context for Native American Heritage Month. But there's some other resources out there that I want to show you. Let's begin with, back under More, Educators Resources. So we'll go back to support.gale.com. On the Educators Resources here under More, before we go off to other sources, you'll see that we've got Google Classroom integration and how to do that, in context reading level guides, persistent links, training materials. And on the right-hand side, they've created tip sheets and worksheets for students doing research and writing papers. So they can, how to build an argument, they can get the tip sheet as well as the worksheet to go with that. And these can be used in your libraries and in your classrooms. If we select the supportgale.com, this is where you can see more about the citations. You can get videos on bookmarking, sending to Google Drive. There's a brief webinar on U.S. and World History in Context. They're downloadable scavenger hunts and resource guides. So here's the scavenger hunting for Native American Heritage Month. But now let's go look at some of those other resources. The Wyoming Humanities has sent two Nations One Reservation kiosks to school districts library systems, and community colleges in Wyoming. Notice that they have pins in the map so that you can see where school districts and libraries have these. If I scroll down a little more, so for this Two Nations, One Reservation, this highlights the Wind River Reservation in Wyoming, going along with the Indian Education for All legislation. You can access a kid's guide that goes with this kiosk that could also be used separately and not having to have the kiosk, but worth visiting that in your library or schools. There's also a host guide and an adult's guide. They've also listed some additional resources here at the bottom and a visual on what this kiosk looks like. The state library is going to be preparing a LibGuide to accompany this kiosk and the study of our Native Americans here in Wyoming. We've also created a marketing campaign for November. That has to do with Native Americans and Native American Heritage Month. So you'll see that we've also created a flyer that you can print out and use that has the Go Wild on it and State Library. We've also will have this webinar posted here today or tomorrow. And these are the State Library created flyers. Gale's also created those downloads that I showed you, and a few other items of interest, PBS and things like that. So let's go back to the slides. So this is the adult guide for the Two Reservations, One Nation. But here's also some other sites that you might be interested in. The first one on the list, support.gale.com/honor-the-past, is the first one I showed you where they have the social media posts, the scavenger hunt, and the guide. thinkwhy.org is the humanities Two Nations, One Reservation kiosk information. There's also NativeAmericanHeritageMonth.gov and www.wyo.gov about Wyoming, as well as this last one, which gets you to information about the Indian Education for All legislation. There's a lot of information to look at Native American Heritage Month, Native American topics, both for the United States as well as for our state of Wyoming. And I hope these will be helpful to you. If you have any questions, please give me a holler. And if you want to find out anything about other GoWild.net resources, don't hesitate to get in touch. Thanks for joining in. Bye now.